Hello and welcome to this demo video. Before we get started, I'd just like to explain to you a few things which will relate to all of the basic range spreadsheets. Number one, there is a key on the intro and setup tab of all of the spreadsheets showing what the different color headers mean. The blue headers mean that the cell's formulated, so it's locked and you can't change it. The yellow headers are where you can input data, and occasionally there might be some gray headers, which is just a different kind of data input, but we'll include instructions as and when that happens. The other thing that you can be aware of is there are ways in which you can damage the spreadsheet. So please do take a look at the link where you see this image, which will take you to a web page to show you how to better preserve your spreadsheet. Please feel free to keep a blank version of the spreadsheet somewhere, so that if you do mess up a spreadsheet that you're using, you can in fact just open a new one, a blank one. And some of the spreadsheets only last for a year, and then you've got a blank one to start the following year. So do keep a blank copy as a backup somewhere. And lastly, wherever you see this image, you can click on it. It'll take you back to the store where you purchased this product to see if you've got anything, any more products. One last thing, to see a demo video, you can click on this on a link that looks like this in order to go to the demo video, but that'll take you to the most recent demo. If in fact we've done upgrades and you're using an older version and you'd like to see the demo relating to your version, then do click on the watch on YouTube link, which will take you to that specific video on YouTube. So I think that's all you need to know. So without further ado, let's move on to this demo video. Thank you.
Hello and welcome to this demo for the platform price calculator. Now the platform price calculator is a spreadsheet that will take prices of your goods and adjust them accordingly depending on which platform you want to sell them on. So for argument's sake, eBay or Amazon or whatever else, any other platform that you want to sell them on. It doesn't even necessarily have to be an online platform, but obviously you got people selling all sorts of products on all sorts of platforms, and they're all the fees all differ, so you want to try and find out exactly what to charge on each platform. So let's just go through how this works. It's not connected to anything, it's a standalone spreadsheet, so you have to update the settings as far as the costs are concerned, but let me show you how it works. Alright, first and foremost, on the intro and setup, put in the default markup. Now the default markup is your markup and products, because it's going to allow you to put your cost prices in if you want to calculate the markup as well. So what you can do is put in the default markup. You can override individual items, but if the majority of items are all the same, that will go in there. Default postage and packaging. That's the same story. You will be able to override each individual item, but just for now, if you've got a kind of default postage price, it helps to put it in here, because then it will take that as a default if you don't input a specific price. And then VAT rate, if you're charging VAT, putting the VAT rate over there. And that's all you need to set up on the first page. The second page I'm going to go to is actually the platforms and rates, not the product list. We'll get to that in a minute. The platform and rates, this is probably one of the most important pages, because you've got to make sure this is A, filled in, and B, up to date, because this is what's going to determine all of your prices. If this is wrong, your prices will be wrong. Each platform, you can name up to 5. Simply put the name of each of the platforms in here, under platforms 1 to 5. And then any fixed fee. Now what we mean by fixed fee or rates are any kind of, if you say, if it's, for argument's sake, it can be a platform fee or even a payment fee or anything that costs that you're going to incur on that platform, any fixed fees. So if it's £1 or 50p or 80p fixed or whatever the case might be, put the fixed fees in there, you can list them. The reason why I put 3 is in case you want to list them and list up to 3. If you've got 4, for example, just combine 2. So you can do fee and payment fee for £1.50. It doesn't make a difference if you combine the prices or itemize them, as long as these 3 cells total up to all of your fixed fees. Then you've also got percentage fees, same story. You can list up to 3, put in the percentages. If you've got a situation where you've got a 4th one, so here I could put in the description of both fees and put it as 9.5% by just adding the 2 together. You can do that, that's fine. But then what you essentially want to be left with is the platform name, these 3 totaling up all the fixed fees, so that are fixed costs, and these 3 totaling up all the fees that are charged as a percentage of the selling price. And once you've got that together, the last thing you do is select at the bottom here. Now this is about postage and packaging. What do you want to do with your postage and packaging? Sometimes you want to add the postage and packaging into your fee, into the price. So you want the price to include postage and packaging. Other times you don't want to include postage and packaging at all, so you want to leave it out completely. And then other times you want to allow for the fees on the postage and packaging, but not actually include them. So you might find a platform that will add postage and packaging on to your price afterwards, but their fees will be based, so the fees to you will be based as the total price, including packaging. So what you might want to do is you might not want the price to include the packaging price, but you wanted to allow for the fees that are going to be charged on the packaging price. If that's the case, select exclude price, include fee, include fees, exclude price, include fees. If you wanted to include the price in the price and you wanted to include for the fees, then go include fees, price and fees. And if you want to exclude the price and the fees, exclude it all together, then select exclude price and fees. So you can select one of those per platform. So for argument's sake, everything underneath here is for platform 1, all of that's for platform 2, all of that's for platform 3, 4, and 5. So fill in as much information as you can. Make sure that you select the right one at the bottom, because that's obviously going to influence the price. Once you've done that, now bear in mind, if you don't want to use a platform, just leave the name blank. Any that you've left blank, it won't show the prices. But obviously the ones that you do want to use, if you can use up to 5, input the platform names. And once you've done that, once you've set that up along with the intro and setup tab, then all that's left to do is list your price, your products, list the code. If you've got a product code, you can put in. If you don't, just leave it blank, and then put in the cost price, and that's it. Your postage and packaging will take the default price that you put on the intro and setup tab, and your markup will take the default markup. If you say, well, actually, this particular product, say for argument's sake over here, instead of a 20%, you've actually got a 30% markup on there, then you can just go and adjust that, find an individual product to have a higher markup. If you've got a postage and packaging, you can adjust them here. If you've got a default of £2.50 for postage and packaging, but you actually go, well, then I don't want any postage and packaging on this particular item, then you just put in a 0 and it will remove the postage and packaging costs. There you go. There, all the platform A, B, C, D, and E, whatever you would have renamed them, would appear in there, and you can see the price that you then need to charge on each of those platforms. So how do these prices get calculated? Well, what I've done is, obviously, if you think about it, if you've got a fee that's charged on your selling price, you can't work that out until you know your selling price, but you're trying to work your selling price out from a cost price with a fee that doesn't actually exist yet. So I've used some backward engineered formulas to create it, but what it effectively does is this. I've got it in another sheet here. If you've got your selling price, in fact, I think 7530 is taking that first product on platform A. So if you've got your selling price, I've worked out the fee based on the selling price and the percentage on the other spreadsheet. I've worked out the payment fee, again based on the selling price, that based on the selling price, the percentage you put in, and then the fixed fees that have been put in for that particular platform, and then the packaging and postage, and it comes back to 5160. So that is effectively working backwards to what your cost, not your cost price, to what your base rate would have been. If you go here, we have a look, 5160. There's the base rate. So what it does is this spreadsheet will actually look ahead to what your selling price is going to be, work back to get to the fee, so that it gets you the fees before you've actually calculated what your selling price is. Because obviously, if you take the fees and add them on first, then the more you add on, the more the fees become. The more you add on, the more the fees become, and it's just a vicious circle. So this will help you to calculate all what you need to be charging for each of those products on each of those platforms. So I hope that is self-explanatory. I don't want to go into all the maths behind it, but that's essentially how it works. Just remember to update each platform. Make sure this is up to date with the current fees that you're paying. Because if you don't update this, it's not going to know, and you're going to end up with incorrect prices. Make sure you tell it exactly what to do with the postage and packaging at the bottom here for each platform, and obviously make sure that these setup settings are always correct. If that's the case, it should work well for you. And yeah, I wish you all the best in your business. Thank you and goodbye.